FTB Film Study is presented by PAM Health, the official rehabilitation partner of Penn State Football. PAM Health provides elite-level inpatient and outpatient physical care at over 70 hospitals across the country. Learn more at pamhealth.com.
Welcome into another FTB Film Study. Zane Durant is one of the most talented and unique defensive tackles I ever went against in my career. And going head-to-head with him, literally head-to-head, ended my football career. But very often I have people ask me, what makes Zane Durant so special? Because he isn't your typical 6'5", 320-pound defensive tackle. His measurements are really less than ideal. But he has found a way to use that 6'1", 290-pound frame to his advantage. I found it borderline impossible to get under Durant's pads and move him out of the way. So, on today's film study, we are going to be taking a look at the little intricacies of Zane Durant's game that makes him a true game wrecker at defensive tackle. If you guys are enjoying the content, please hit that subscribe and like button. It helps out the channel. Without further ado, let's get into the tape. All right, the first play we are looking at is against West Virginia in week 1. And one thing about Zane Durant, he might not always make the play, but he is going to be involved in the play and affect it. So right here, West Virginia is trying to run outside zone, so they're trying to get outside here. And let's talk about Zane Durant and some of these techniques he uses. So naturally, right away, he comes off the ball low and is able to get up under this offensive guard. That's that natural leverage that Zane Durant has. So he wins there. Where else does he win? He wins because his hands are inside. You see his elbows right here. They're tucked in. You can't see. So he's got great hand placement. The next thing, watch this lift. He's able, because he has leverage, he kind of forklifts up, and it causes this offensive lineman to then go upwards and taking that power away from the offensive guard. So, and then the next piece of this is Zane knows this double team is coming from this center. So what does he do is you see how he turned his body right there. And what that did was it gave less surface area for this offensive lineman to have. So now the offensive lineman's on his back plate. The offensive lineman can't get up under Zane Durant's chest because he took away that surface area by turning his hips in the hole. Now, you say, why don't other people do that? Well, look at this, because when you do that, you don't have a base. That is one of Zane Durant's superpowers. He can play without a base and not get moved. So he fights through that, and then is able to completely disrupt the play. But just kind of talking about that leverage one more time, you can see it better from this angle. When he comes out right here, you see how he shoots in. So that's kind of the leverage of his hips there. And then watch, you see how his head just came up. That was that forklift. That was him lifting, taking the offensive lineman's weight and shifting it upwards. And then you don't have a lot to work with as an offensive lineman. But I mean, just completely in the backfield here, knocks off this guy that's pulling around. And then Zane Durant actually ends up finishing the play right here, making the tackle. We'll go back one more time. Let's talk about the actual design of this play. So it's outside zone, and what we have here is a combo block between the center and the guard here. That's a single up to Dom DeLuca. Then this tight end's going to come around, and he's pulling for Elliott Washington. Well, Zane Durant takes all three guys, knocks the tight end off, center can't get off. So not only does he make the play, he frees up Dom DeLuca, and he frees up Elliott Washington here. So he is just completely wreaking havoc on the play, where not only does he make the tackle, but he frees up all his guys to also go be able to make the play. All right, we are staying in the West Virginia game, and Zane Durant, this is another one of those plays where he influences the play and he makes the play. So West Virginia's coming out trying to run outside zone again. Now, this is where I love how Zane Durant kind of addresses and attacks double teams. So if you watch right here, instead of trying to play this gap, he goes at this offensive guard and swipes those hands. That's that violent hands. You see that swipe move. He's swimming over top of him, and this offensive guard's kind of falling on his face. Now, we just talked about it. What does Zane Durant do? He turns his body in the hole so there isn't as much surface area for this offensive center to get on him. So now he has completely broken through that double team. And like I said, the aiming point for the running back is to get out here. Well, Zane Durant has completely blocked that off. And what that does is that forces the running back to funnel back inside where Zane Durant has all his buddies to help him out. Unfortunately, no one makes the tackle. Zane Durant says, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, dive, and make the diving tackle for his team. All right, now we're going to Minnesota, and I have very fond memories of Zane Durant doing this every day to me in practice, where we would finish, we go into the film room, I'm looking over at Olu Fashanu, Coach Trout's looking at us saying, what the heck? And we don't have an answer because Zane Durant is basically a magician out on the field. His ability to jump from this A-gap to the opposite A-gap and almost teleport. This is something that a huge 6'5" defensive tackle just can't do. Look at the centers coming in, trying to blunt Zane with his hand here. It's so effortless. Zane's ability to swipe that hand down, and now the center is, almost falling on the ground. Once again, Zane getting skinny. Look at him getting through this combo block right here, and also doing it with a lack of base. That's his ability. That's his special ability that, most guys would get knocked off their route, but he can fight through. That's that lower body strength that he has, and then he is always finishing the play. So now let's hop over to Washington and kind of a similar thing here where Washington is running outside zone, but it is completely redirected by Zane Durant. So they're trying to run this out here. Zane fights through this B gap, but watch how he does it. Completely turns his body in the hole. I mean, this guy's hips are facing the sideline here. Doesn't have a base, but once again, doesn't get knocked off. That's that lower body strength. And watch his ability to go from hips at the sideline to snapping the hips back vertical, completely cutting off this guy that's trying to run out here, forces him back inside, and then go make the tackle, finish the play.
FTB Film Study is presented by PAM Health, the official rehabilitation partner of Penn State Football. PAM Health provides elite-level inpatient and outpatient physical rehabilitation at over 70 hospitals across the country. We strive to make a meaningful impact in the lives of our patients by facilitating extraordinary outcomes and quality results in a compassionate and caring environment. Learn more at pamhealth.com.
Zane Durant is so special in disrupting the run game and the pass game right here against Illinois. This is a fantastic pass rush rep. Once again, he is going against this offensive tackle, lines him up. These are the violent hands that are also, like I said, it's just so smooth. It's so effortless when you see how he goes with this left hand, kind of grabs that right hand of the offensive guard, shucks it down. He feels his weight starting to move down. So Zane Durant goes with the spin move. Here he is again. I mean, that's fluid hips. You see, no base, once again, being able to get through and really play in a telephone booth. Right here, when you have 1 foot in the ground and 2 offensive linemen on you, and you're still able to break through, and that's that hips to the sideline, and then hips are back vertical, and let's go hunt that quarterback and get that sack. All right, now we're going to Illinois, where Zane Durant continues to display his lateral quickness and his hands. They are just so effortless. So he's going from being a G across the center's face to the opposite A gap, and he kind of feels his weight. So he goes with a little bit of a club rip move. And this is, once again, where he is able to get through, get around, and then just get back vertical. Center's on the ground, and Zane Durant is one-on-one with, by the way, a 6'4" running back that he just wraps up and straight up takes down across the center's face, get through, effortless hands, get back vertical, and now finish that play. Zane Durant is a monster. So real quick, let's go to Minnesota now. Minnesota is running outside zone. So Zane Durant always impacting the play from the backside. Look at the push that he gets on this offensive guard. Not only does he knock the offensive guard back, he knocks this puller also off of his track and slows him down. And this is kind of that leverage that you see Zane Durant play with, where he gets up under that offensive lineman and is just pushing him straight back, knocks him off, and then here's the finish by Zane Durant. Talk about any means possible, any way possible, sticks that arm out, actually misses right here, kind of misses his shoulder pad, and then re-grabs his arm and just yanks the guy down. Talk about fight. Zane Durant is one heck of a player, getting through and just finishing the play. Now, against Notre Dame, Zane Durant really showed off his ability to be lethal with his leverage and his hands. I watched him every day of the first 3 years of his career in the facility, constantly working his hands off in the corner on a dummy, constantly making sure that he became a pass rush technician, and now he's putting it all on tape. Going against Rocco Spindler here, this offensive guard, you see his head gets jolted back. So that right hand is up in Zane's face mask. So it's hard to see, but Zane then is continuously working. You see he used his left hand, swipes down the right hand of the offensive guard. And so he's actually effectively working two different moves at once. Zane Durant is working kind of a club rip down move with his left arm, while he's working a bull rush right here, a long arm with his right arm. And that's how talented this guy is. Two moves at once. And when he swipes him off, it gets this guard off balance. And now this is where the leverage, that forklift, you see that movement of coming up, forklifting him into the sky, and literally onto his butt, just being a game wrecker, and actually takes Riley Leonard out of the game here. That is Zane Durant's pass rushing ability in a nutshell. Zane Durant is gearing up for an All-American season. If he can continue to improve upon these things we talked about in this film study, he could be talked about as defensive tackle 1 in this 2026 NFL draft. Coach Codutti will be back next week breaking down Zakee Wheatley and how he fits into Jim Knowles' 3-safety scheme. Until then, please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.